event. Yeah, so the other day I was watching my cousin's Snapchat story, and she has a 6-year-old daughter, a 4-year-old son, and a 6-month-old baby boy. Okay, so super adorable. And they're pretty much the cutest kids that you could ever imagine. Um, Now, none of these children on the screen right now are her own children. They're just stock photo children I found on the internet. But anyway, her 4-year-old son waits for his sister to get off the bus every day. And he runs up to her and gives her a big old hug. And they're all just smiling, playing, reading, coloring, and just like soaking up every second of their lives. And what I realized was like, this is pretty normal for kids around that age. Like, if you've ever had experience with kids that age, like you kind of know that they're like a lot of fun. Um, they tend to have like huge imaginations, and it can be like really striking to see like their wonder and zeal and like passion for life when you're working with them. And I'd be willing to bet that like a lot of us can remember our childhoods and like having these huge imaginations. And maybe some of us at that age like even enjoyed going to school. And that's just like such a stark contrast from what we see just like around us at college. In fact, let's go ahead and take a poll. So Kayla, if you could launch that, that'd be great. I just want to see here, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was struggling with the polls earlier and I could not
Okay.
figure it out. But if you want to just ask the question, see if people
Yeah.
want to come off mute.
Yeah. So one of the questions is, were you once a child? Yes or no? Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Katie. Yeah. So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that all of you at one point were once a child. And then the other question is, do you have the same enthusiasm right now that you did when you were a child? No, no. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. That's pretty normal, from what I can tell. So I just want to ask you guys, like, let's see, what happened? How did like so many of us turn from being like these fun-loving, imaginative kids into a group of tired, sometimes sad college students that can like barely bring ourselves to go to class? Is there anything that we can do to bring back our fire? And like, how can we get back some of that fire that those stock photo children possess? Oh my gosh. Well, in the next 20 minutes, I hope to give you guys some guidance on how to do just that. I'm going to take you all through the strategy that I use in my own life to battle the burnout that I experience. And first, I think it's really important to understand the root of our burnout. And it's going to be different for everyone, but I'm going to ask you all to do a little bit of an introspection today. So if you can recognize like where your issues are coming from, it's going to help you a lot to more effectively battle the burnout that you experience. Yeah, so being alive isn't easy. It really is not easy. A lot of times we can feel like this guy just hunched over. We have a lot to do in life. We have a lot of stressful things going on. We have a lot of responsibilities. We have a lot of people to please. We have a lot of expectations to meet. And this isn't necessarily anything that we asked for. It's just kind of the case. It's just a fact of life. And yeah, on top of that, being in college brings a lot of other stressors. It brings a lot of other responsibilities, a lot of people to please, a whole lot of expectations to meet, and it can be overwhelming. It kind of weighs on you like this trapezoid. And on top of that, being in engineering brings a lot of other stressors, a lot of other responsibilities, a lot of people to please, a lot of expectations to meet. And on top of that, being a woman in engineering brings a lot of stressors, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of people to please, and a lot of expectations to meet. And you guessed it. On top of that, being in a pandemic brings a lot of stressors, a lot of responsibilities, people to please, and expectations to meet. You get the idea. We're going through a lot, like a whole lot. And so that kind of makes sense why we don't always feel like those stock photo children. It makes sense that some days we don't want to go to class. It makes sense that we don't want to do our homework. It makes sense that some days the best we can do is stare at the wall for a few hours. It makes sense that a lot of times we don't really have the energy for the things that we actually enjoy doing. And if this is relatable to you, I want you to know that you're not alone, like not even close to being alone. According to the National College Health Assessment, almost 40% of college students feel too depressed to function properly. That is a huge number. Like if you just think about our campus, almost half of those students that you see walking around campus are too stressed to function properly. And I'm going to bet that within the College of Engineering, that number is significantly higher. So what can be done about this? Luckily, it's not hopeless. We don't have to live out the rest of our lives feeling like burnt out matches. We all have potential, we have passions, and we can reignite our fires. So one method that I have found to be very useful in my own life is called categorization. I don't know if that's officially what it's called, but that's what I call it. So basically the main idea is we all have a to-do list. Whether you like it or not, there's just a lot of things that need to get done. And so it's just there whether you like it or not. And your to-do list, it looks different for everyone. But I just want you all to take a second and think about your normal daily routines. Think about one thing in your day that you normally dread doing. Like you would rather just not do it ever. For me, that's washing the dishes. Me and my sister, we both hate washing the dishes. We don't have a dishwasher in our apartment. I just dread doing it, but it needs to get done. So if you want, you can drop your ideas in the chat, share with each other, make a mental note if that helps, write it down. Just kind of take a second and think about something that you really dread doing. Writing reports. Yep. Starting my homework. Yep. Yeah. All these things. Okay. Now, think about something in your daily routine that is just a task. Just, it's not positive or negative. It's just something that you kind of do mindlessly and don't like necessarily dread it or like look forward to it. It's just something that you do. Like for me, it's brushing my teeth. It's just something that I do every day, twice a day. I have to do it, but I'm not necessarily excited to do it. I just kind of do it. So yeah, you can drop them in the chat, think about it, take a second, write it down, whatever helps. Just kind of come up with a couple ideas of what is just a normal task in your day. Making my bed. Yep, that's a good one. Filling the Brita. Yep. Good. Yeah. Okay. Now you can probably guess, but think about something in your daily routine that you actually really look forward to doing every day. Like it should be something that gets you at least a little bit excited or like something that makes you feel good. Like for me, that's going on a run. It's my favorite form of exercise. I look forward to it. I feel good during. I feel even better after. Yeah, good. Driving the class so you can jam out to music, making food. Yep. Eating is a big one for sure. Meditating. Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully you can think of at least one thing in that category. Like I hope that you have something to look forward to every day. But yeah, so now we have these 3 categories of tasks, right? We have things that we dread doing, we have things that we're kind of neutral about, and things that we look forward to doing. And I'm going to argue that every single task on your to-do list falls into one of these 3 categories. So I call these 3 categories draining, neutral, and fulfilling tasks. If you think about it, to some extent, every single thing that you do throughout the day is either draining, neutral, or fulfilling. And it's kind of like a continuum, right? There are certain tasks that are going to give you more fulfillment than others, and certain tasks that are going to be more draining than others. So why is this important? Well, the main thing that you have to realize is that we can't run on an empty tank. We're kind of like, we people are kind of like tanks of gas. We're able to function because of the fuel that's in our tanks, right? When we do draining tasks throughout the day, we're draining some of that fuel out of our tank. And remember, it's a continuum. So when we do extremely draining tasks, we take a lot of fuel out. And when we do neutral tasks, it's kind of like our engine is off. So we're not really using any fuel. And when we do our fulfilling tasks, it's like going to the gas station and getting some fuel back in our tanks. And again, with the continuum, like when those tasks are really fulfilling, we get a lot of fuel back in our tanks. And when they're just like slightly fulfilling, it's just a little bit of fuel. Anyway, when you're driving, you just feel better when you have a full tank of gas, you know? You got the whole world ahead of you. You got a full tank of gas, nothing can stop you. But as you go along, as you keep driving, you're gradually draining your tank out of gas. And when your engine is off, it doesn't really help because fuel isn't going back into your tank. You keep driving along, and before you know it, you're out of gas. And then what? You're running on fumes. When we're burnt out, it means that we're running on fumes. I don't know if any of you have done this, but like when you're driving and you get like really low on gas, like that orange light has been on for a very, very long time. You know what I'm talking about? You start to get really nervous. You start to look for like safe places to drive off on the side of the road and let your car just die in peace. Like your car is just begging for mercy, you know? That's not fun. It's stressful. It's not fun for you. It's not fun for your car. It's not fun for the other drivers on the road that could, you know, potentially be in danger because of you. So like, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you constantly running on fumes? It's not fun for you. It's not fun for those around you, and it's just not sustainable. And at any point, your tank could become bone dry. And then what happens? You stop. Even if you stuck a match in there in your tank, in your fuel tank, it wouldn't catch on fire because there's no residue of fuel. You have absolutely nothing left in there. You have no spark. That is why it's so important to find that balance in your life. You need to recognize which tasks are draining, neutral, and fulfilling for you. So like when I have a busy day or a week ahead of me, I try to guess how I'm going to feel about everything that I have to do. Am I going to be excited to get the groceries? Maybe not if I go at 5 p.m. on a Friday when literally everyone and their cousins are there and I'm like totally exhausted and all I want to do is sleep. That's going to be a draining task for me if I go at 5 p.m. on a Friday. But if I go at, 3 in the afternoon on a Tuesday after I've been doing schoolwork for a couple hours, it's going to be a good break in my day. I'm going to look forward to getting outside after being in a couple classes. I'm going to be excited about, being able to stretch my legs. And yeah, it's going to be a more fulfilling task if I do it at that time. So that's how like I'm kind of able to transition that draining task to be more fulfilling. But you know, we can't always do that. Some tasks are just always going to be draining. So like I think Bridget said like, am I ever going to be excited to write an essay? No, absolutely not. Essays will always be a draining task for me. Um, so like, but it's not just something that's going to go away. It's still on my to-do list. It still needs to get done, right? So how do you tackle that draining task? One strategy that I use is like I just do it first thing in the morning, right? I'm refueled after a good night of sleep, and after I get it done, I can just like feel good about having it done. And yeah, that's just an easy way to get your draining tasks out of the way. But sometimes we can't do that because it just seems like we have an endless list of draining tasks to do. So that's why it's so important to find little things to look forward to throughout your day. And this will just give you like small shots of fuel that will prevent you from running on empty throughout the day. So like something small to look forward to. I don't know, saying hi to a friend, getting to check your phone like after 4 hours of class, like something like that, you know, getting to eat a snack, texting your mom, something like that. I don't know. There are a lot of little things to look forward to, and that'll help you prevent yourself from running on empty. But yeah, basically what I want you guys to know is you can't keep running on an empty tank. It doesn't always have to be a full tank because that's not sustainable either, but you need at least some fuel in there. And when someone sticks a match in your fuel tank, I want to see you catch on fire. I want to see you have energy to fuel your passions. I know that we're all so capable of feeling like those stock photo children. You can reignite your passions if you recognize what you do that continues to drain you. So remember, keep an eye on your fuel indicator and don't try to run on an empty tank. Find that mix of draining, neutral, and fulfilling tasks, and you're all going to be amazing. And thank you so much. Any questions?